What are the ethical debates around microtransactions in games? The impact on game accessibility. One of the primary ethical concerns about microtransactions is that they can make games less accessible to players who cannot afford to make additional purchases. This pay-to-win model can create an unequal playing field, where players who spend money have an advantage, potentially alienating those who can't afford these purchases. Potential exploitation of vulnerable players. Microtransactions, especially in games that target younger audiences, can lead to ethical concerns regarding exploitation. Some games may encourage excessive spending by incorporating mechanics designed to foster addictive behavior, preying on players' desires for instant rewards or progression, which could lead to financial harm. Transparency in pricing models. A major ethical debate revolves around the transparency of in-game purchases. When microtransactions are hidden behind vague or unclear pricing models, players may not fully understand the cost of certain in-game items or upgrades. This lack of transparency can mislead consumers, raising questions about fairness and honesty in game development. Impact on game design and experience. Microtransactions can influence how games are designed, sometimes leading to a focus on monetization rather than player experience. Developers may prioritize creating features that encourage spending, such as grinding, mechanics, or the sale of cosmetic items, over developing rich, engaging content. This shift can degrade the quality of the game. The line between cosmetic and pay-to-win. Another key debate is whether cosmetic microtransactions, such as skins or avatars, are ethically different from those that offer gameplay advantages, like power-ups or character enhancements. While cosmetic purchases allow for aesthetic customization without altering gameplay, pay-to-win models give certain players an advantage, often raising concerns about fairness. Microtransactions in full-priced games. There is growing criticism of microtransactions in full-priced games, where players already pay a premium to access the game. The ethical issue arises when additional content or advantages are locked behind paywalls, prompting players to spend even more money to fully experience the game, leading to concerns about value and fairness. Gamification of spending. The gamification of microtransactions, such as using loot boxes or random rewards, has raised concerns about exploiting players' psychology. These systems often encourage spending with the promise of rewards that may not be earned through regular gameplay, leading to ethical issues about manipulating players' desire for instant gratification. Impact on developers' priorities. Critics argue that microtransactions can shift the focus of developers from creating a compelling, long-lasting game to generating continual revenue. This business model encourages developers to design games that are optimized for frequent monetization, potentially compromising the integrity and quality of the game in favor of short-term profits. Ethical concerns about loot boxes. Loot boxes, a popular form of microtransaction, have sparked debate due to their resemblance to gambling. Players may spend real money for random rewards, which can lead to excessive spending without guaranteed value. Many argue that this mechanic preys on vulnerable players, especially minors, and raises ethical questions about the responsibility of game companies. Regulation and consumer protection. As microtransactions have become a widespread issue, there have been calls for greater regulation and consumer protection to ensure that companies are transparent and fair. Ethical concerns revolve around how much responsibility game developers should bear for the well-being of their players and whether additional safeguards, such as spending limits, should be introduced to protect consumers from exploitation.